Hey, how's it going? This is Hellbent, and welcome to AutoHotkey Commands tutorial number 4. In this one, we're going to be looking at pixel search and how to use it, and various ways that you can implement this into different scripts. So, before we jump into the actual meat of the tutorial, I've gone ahead and created a little helper little thing that we're going to use as our target throughout the course of this tutorial. So, in the description, there's going to be a link to a paste bin file. If you go to that and then go down to the very bottom, you'll find this area called raw paste data. Just click anywhere in there, press Control A to highlight it all, and then Control C to put it into your clipboard. Once you have that, go ahead and put this into a new script besides the script that you're going to be using. So this is going to be a separate script from the one we're going to be actually going over for the tutorial. So paste that in, save it, and then once you run it, you'll get this. So this script here is going to allow us to do all of our testing and troubleshooting, etc., and to see the effectiveness of our script. So it's got two modes. One is if the script clicks on the square, it will choose a new random location and it'll increment a count, so we can see that the script is actually moving to the correct location, it's picking up the color properly, etc. Right? The next one is perhaps you're scripting something that's going to be moving around and you want to be able to target that moving object. You can use the move mode to see how effective your script is at following something that's moving. So here we have a moving object, and if our script clicks on it, if I can't click on it, okay, if it clicks on it, it'll increment the count. We can change the color of this to anything that we want. So if you're looking for a particular color with your script for a game or some other kind of application, if you know what the color is, you just type in the color here, and then this will be our test environment for running that script. So let's say, for example, if you wanted it to be blue, it would be in hexadecimal. It will be, this is in RGB, just so you know. It'll be 00 for the red, 00 for the green, and FF for the blue. So here we have a blue square, and you can change it to any color you want. So for example, if I wanted some like purplish color, it would be FF00FF. Right? You can also do the same with the background. Let's say if I wanted to do yellow. Is this going to be yellow? I think it's yellow. Okay, there, we got yellow. Also, if I want to make it so that way this moves faster, you can adjust this to any number you want. The faster it goes, the crazier it's going to get, but yeah, you'll be able to see how effective your script is at different speeds. The last thing is being able to change the size of the target. So for example, if I wanted to, I can make this target 3 pixels by 3 pixels, and you can't even see it anymore, but your script should be able to find that and click on it. Or you can go all the way up to 222 pixels by 555 pixels, right? Anything that you want. And then, so this is going to be our test environment, and you're welcome to play around with the code, make this do whatever you want. So let's go into the actual tutorial. I've gone here and I've copied out the structure, so that way we have a reference of what the structures or the syntax of our pixel search command. For this tutorial, we're going to be mostly working with hotkeys because it's a very simple way for us to run a program and test it. But you can incorporate pixel search into any aspect of your script. You can have it as part of a function. You can have it being part of a long script that at just a specific point it does a pixel search, etc. But we're going to be using a hotkey so that way we can trigger it whenever we want. So I'm going to go ahead and create a hotkey. I'm going to use number pad 1, so it's a key that I'm not going to be typing out very much during the. It's pretty much the only time I'm going to type number pad 1 is when I'm actually doing the testing. And besides that, I have another hotkey that's set to a control escape, so that way I can exit out of the script whenever I need to. Okay, so let's go ahead and write out our pixel search in our hotkey. So just type out pixel search, And then the first two parameters are the output variables for the X and Y. So if our pixel search actually comes back with a positive result, so let's say if we're looking for blue and it does find blue, then it's going to store the location of that pixel inside of these two variables. So I'm just going to call it AX and AY. I can call it whatever I want, so it doesn't really matter. The next four parameters that we want is the starting location and the ending location. Now, how this works, we're going to be using fast modes, but I'm jumping ahead a little bit. How this works is normally what we're going to do is we're going to set it so that way we're going to have a region of the screen. So however much of the screen or window that we want to search, that's the size. So we're going to pick the top left corner of that search area. So let's say if I want to search my whole screen, I'll use 0, 0 or up in this top corner as the starting position, 0 for the X1, 0 for the Y1, and then let's say if I only wanted to search to about, let's say about here, this would be about 300 pixels by about 300 pixels. So it would be 300 by 300. So it'll search from this corner down to about here, right? But what if I want to search the whole screen, and I'll go into a little bit more about the different search modes or coordinate modes in a second, but let's say if I want to search the whole screen, there's actually a built-in variable for those that we can use, so that way I already know that my screen width is 1366 pixels wide by 740 some odd pixels tall, but I don't know the exact number, and you might not know the exact number, so we can just use the built-in variable that actually grabs that information for us. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to search the whole screen for a particular color that we're going to specify in a second. So I'm going to do the built-in variable is called a screen width for the width. So I'm going to search from 0x all the way to the maximum X location on my screen, and then for the ending Y location I'm going to do the same. So a screen height. A screen height. So now I'm going to search the entire screen starting from 0, 0 all the way down to 1366 and 700 and something. Whatever your screen is, that's what it'll be for you. Your screen will be those dimensions. Then the next thing, before I jump into the color thing, what I was talking about before about the coordinate mode is by default the coordinate modes for like when it grabs the coordinates of something, by default it's set to the active window. So whatever your active window is, so let's say this is currently my active window. Even though my window is down over here, this corner right here is actually 0, 0, right? But what if I want to use the screen, then this top corner up here would be 0, 0. So if I'm using windowed mode, it would be the top left corner of this window would be 0, 0. If I use screen mode, it'll be up here. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. I'm going to switch the coordinate mode to screen. So I can put this inside of my hotkey, but because I'm going to be using it throughout the whole of the script, I'm just actually going to put it right up at the top. So up at the top of my script, I'm going to type out coord mode, and then I'm going to change the coordinate mode for both the mouse and the pixel. Now I'm not positive if I need the pixel, change the coordinate modes for the pixel with PixelSearch, but just in case I do need it, I'm going to put it in here, and then later on when we get into further things in the script, there is something that we are going to need the pixel mode, the coordinate mode to be changed for the pixel, so I'll just do it right now just to get it out of the way. So I'm going to set the coord mode for pixels to the screen instead of window, and then I'm going to do the same with the mouse. So the coordinates of my mouse is also going to be related to the screen. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure the pixel would be part of that, yeah. Okay, so now that we've made sure that we're going to be using the whole screen rather than just the active window, we can be sure that this is going to work, our coordinates are going to work out okay. Like I said before, if we're using on window mode, this would be 0, 0, so this would be, 100, 200, 300. Whereas if we're doing on the screen, 300 would be about there. Okay, the next thing is the color that we're going to be looking for. So I can use either a variable here, or I can just type out the hex code for the color that we're going to be using. So we already have a color here that this starts with as a default. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this just so that way we don't have to worry about trying to come up with another color. But what we can do is, because you're going to probably have, you're obviously going to have a very specific color, you can use a tool that you might have, or something like this one that I have here, where you can go and search for a particular color. So let's say, for example, the script that I'm actually going to be writing later on, I need this color right there, right? I need this color right here. So let's use this color as our color that we're going to be searching for. This tool is available if you go to my home page. In the script section of my home page, you can find the video that covers how to get the copy of this. But I'm sure you'll be able to figure something out. So this is the color that we're going to be looking for. And like I said, I can dump this into a variable and then just search for that variable, but we're going to cover that in a little while. The next thing is the variation of the color. So each color is broken up into a red component, a green component, and a blue component, depending on what the variation that I use. So let's say, for example, if I use a variation of 10, each of those colors can be changed by 10. So right now, this is the color that we're going to be searching for. I can change the red up to 10. So right now it's at 60. I could change it to 70, or I can change it down to 50. Right? And I can do the same with this one here and the same with this one here. So each of these colors can be changed up to 10 higher or 10 lower than its current value, and it'll still be able to find that color. So most of the time you're probably going to want to just, you're not going to need to have a variation, but perhaps there is a slight variation from time to time of the color you're going to be searching for. So you can set a variation and it'll find, within that range. So that, oh, I went too high. Okay, there. This one here I'll go up a couple. This one here I'll go down a couple. Right, so as long as the new color is within each of these 10 variations of each of these colors that make it up, then you're going to be able to hit that target. The last thing is fast and RGB. Now I usually work with RGB as the color mode, and in fact this is in RGB. This color is actually in RGB if you use that tool, and this is in RGB. It's my preferred one. I don't know why there's the two of them. I don't know why some people use blue, green, red. I don't know why some people use red, green, blue. I have no idea. I just picked one when I started doing something a long time ago, and it was RGB. So I don't know why there's the two of them, but it is by default. This is set to BGR, or blue, green, red. So in order for us to make it work with RGB, or in other words, that red is going to be the first 2 digits in our color and blue is going to be the last 2 digits, we need to specify that we're working in RGB. The next thing is fast mode. My computer, I've actually tried running it several times using the non-fast mode. I imagine it's slow mode, but there's nothing that I actually type. I don't actually type in slow here, right? So who knows what it actually is. But if I try to run it without fast mode enabled, it actually crashes the script on me. It gets hung up. So I don't know like how effective slow is versus fast, but one of the things that I saw about in the documentation about the difference is that if I don't use fast, it works by the columns. So let me come over here, because it'll probably be easier if I say it like this. Okay, so here we have a grid, right? So this is basic. Let's say that each one of these spots in this grid is a individual pixel. In fast mode, it works from the top left corner to, and it'll do each y-axis. It'll work from left to right along the x-axis. It'll get to the end of my search area, and then it'll drop down to the next row. In the slow mode or non-fast mode, it'll do by column. So it'll start up here, it'll work through this entire column, and then jump up to the next column. So depending on what kind of way that you're trying to do your search, perhaps it makes sense that you want to do it in columns rather than rows, but it says that the fast mode is much faster than the slow mode, so chances are you're going to want to use the fast mode. And there's actually ways that I'll go into a little bit later about how you can circumvent the issue that you're going to encounter with it only starting at that top corner. So we're going to look at search patterns and everything like that. So the last parameter, like I said, we're going to use fast mode because it's the only one that I can actually use and have the script run. So here we go, we have everything set up, and now if we run this, nothing's actually going to happen. So in order for us to actually get anything out of this, when we run this, it's actually going to, depending on whether it finds the color or not, it's going to put a value into a built-in variable called error level. And there's three values that it can have. It can have a 2, a 1, or a 0. If it gets a value of a 2, it means that there was some kind of problem with the script. I don't know what kind of problem it could possibly have, but it's there. It's if the error level is 2, it means that the script ran into some kind of problem. I have no idea what that kind of problem could be. Perhaps you can let me know in the comments. The other one is if it puts a value of 1 into that built-in variable error level. If it gets a value of 1, it means it did its search and it didn't find the color that we're looking for. So it'll return a value of 1 in that built-in variable. And the last one is if it does its search and it actually finds the color, it'll put a value of 0 into the error level variable. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to run this with a test of that. So we're going to say if error level equals 2, we're going to pop up a message box that says like I said, I don't know what kind of condition would actually trigger it to have a value of 2. I can't even think of what it would, like, wouldn't the script just crash if there was something else? I have no idea. So anyways, if it returns a value of 2, there's some kind of problem. I don't know what that problem is. Perhaps you put the syntax wrong, or I don't know. I really have no idea what would cause a value of 2 to be put in the error level. The next one is we're just gonna, I should be writing out else if or else, etc., but just to keep this super simple, I'm just going to use if, and if. So if the variable error level, so like I said, error level is a built-in variable for AutoHotkey. So if it gets if it returns a value of 1, so if it equals 1, we're going to put up a message box that says the color was not found. And then last, like I said, I should be using else if and else, etc., but I'm just going to do it this way. Later on, we're going to be doing different things. Last, if the error level variable returns a value of 0, it means that it did find the color, so we're going to put up a message box that says and we'll dump in the variables. Okay, before I forget, depending on how you put in these two parameters or these 4 values here, it'll determine how it actually performs the search. So right here I have it starting with the 0, 0 down to the bottom corner. If I was to reverse them, it'll actually start at the bottom. So if I put the 0, 0, let me see. If I was to reverse the order where this corner here is the first two numbers that I put in, then what it's going to do is it's going to start here and work backwards. So it's going to work in reverse order. I've never actually tried running it like this. Does it really start here and then go over to here? I don't know. Right, but anyways, it's going to start at the bottom corner and then work its way up, rather than starting at the top corner and working its way down, if you reverse the order. I'm going to undo that. So we're going to start at the top corner and perform our search this way. And like I said, I'm going to go over ways later on about how we can circumvent the fact that it's starting at the top corner. So I'll show you how to create grid search patterns, nesting in loops, etc., etc. So anyways, we're going to run this program now where we're searching for this color right. Oh, I need to update that color. So I'm going to take the color that we're going to be looking for. I'm going to put that into here. And that way, when we run this in a second, we'll be able to see if it finds that color. It reset that. Okay. Now, I'm not positive, but the color that we're looking for might be, with our range here, might actually trigger this color here. So if that's the case, I'm just going to get rid of the variation. But I'll save this, I'll run it. And now if I hit number pad 1, we should theoretically get the error level being set to 1, which will give us the message box that says that the color wasn't found. So there we go. So it didn't trigger off of this color. So that color doesn't exist anywhere within our search area. But now if I bring this up and then press number pad 1 again, we should get the message that says that the color was found and then the coordinates of that color. The color was found at X400, Y 186. So that's the position of the top left corner of that. And if I click on this, we'll now get a different value for that. So it's now found at 588, 259, and then 482. Okay, so that's that. Now, that's great and all that we have all this and that we've tested it and made sure that we can find the color, but we actually want this to do something for us. So we're going to get rid of this testing the error level. Now, depending on, sometimes you might have a color that's on the screen, and what you actually want to do is to see if that color no longer exists. So what you would do is your primary search would be if the error level is 1, so if that color is not found. So let's say you have this in a loop and it's looping over and over and over and over again. What you're looking for is that one time where the color isn't found. But for us, we're actually going to be looking for a color to see if it is on the screen. So we're going to be just checking if the error level is 0. But like I said, you can have it set up so that way you're just waiting for that color to actually disappear to trigger some event. But right now we're going to be looking for that color to appear and then trigger our event. So we're going to say if not error level, which means that the error level is 0. So if there's no error level, we're going to do something. And what are we going to do? Well, we can do anything that we want. Pretty much anything that you want to do, you can have it run a program. So let's have it run a program. So if it finds that color on our screen, we're going to run the calculator. I don't know why you would want to do that, but it exists as an option. Damn. I need a color that I accidentally closed that. Okay, So if I, with the color not on the screen, if I press number pad 1, nothing should happen. Nothing should have happened. Let me get rid of this and try again. Okay, there we go. So apparently this time the variation was enough. I don't know. Alright, so I'm hitting number pad 1, nothing's happening. Hopefully I'm running. Yeah, number pad 1, nothing's happening. If I come over here and change this back to what we actually were looking for, if I hit number pad 1 again, it should run the calculator. And there we go. So as soon as it found the color, it ran a program. Perhaps we're looking for, we're watching TV or something like that, and we're waiting for a specific color to show up on the screen, and then we want our computer to alert us that that color now exists or now can be found. In that case, we might want to do something like send off a sound. Let me actually change that. Right, so let's say we have our computer, it's running the script, and we're watching TV. Our attention's away from the screen. Perhaps some color that we're waiting for or something's appeared, and then it'll trigger this. So if I hit number pad 1, nothing should happen. If I bring that color back up, now we should get alerted. Right? So we can have it, like I said, we can have it. Damn, I closed that program again. Gotta stop doing that. But more than likely, what you're going to want it to do is probably move your cursor. So if I just want it to move my cursor, I'll just set it to do, and I need the comma in there for this one. I hate the way that it runs this program, even though this is the one I'm trying to run. So I have to, each time it does that, I have to set this again. Okay, anyways, so this time if it finds that color, it's going to move our cursor to the coordinates of the pixel that it found. So if I hit number pad 1, it moves to the first pixel. Like it said, it starts at the top corner, and then it works across, then drops down a line, works across. So this top left corner pixel is the one it's going to find. So it moves our cursor there every time we hit number pad 1. And if I move this to a new location, it'll find that pixel. Now chances are you're not going to want to actually click on that particular pixel. So what we would do in this case here, so we have a surface that's 15 pixels by 15 pixels. What I would probably want to do is, rather than clicking on that first pixel that it found, I'm going to offset it a little bit. So I'm going to take that first pixel that it found, and I'm just going to add, let's say, 7 to that value and 7 to that value. So now it'll move closer to the center of that surface. So we're offsetting it. So if I hit number pad 1, it moved more to the center of it. Right? So this is just with it moving it there, but chances are we don't want it to just move it there. We also want to actually click it. So let's get rid of this. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create 2 temporary variables. I'm going to call one tx, and I'm going to set it to the value of ax plus 7. I should have just copied the other one I had. Ty, I'm going to set its value to ay plus 7. And then I'm going to click at tx and ty. Save it and run it. And now when I hit number pad 1, it should move there and click it. And if I keep pressing number pad 1, it's going to chase around this square. Right? And likewise, I can have it like that. but that's going to be more for when we get into loops. Okay, I'm going to cut this one here, and then we'll continue on in part 2 where we dive a little bit deeper and show how we can actually use this in more effective ways. I see you there. Hope you enjoyed.